You know, I feel like I wasted a lot of my time and a lot of my money just going out.
Just going out.
Yeah.
And
Well,
for nothing.
as Malcolm would say,
Hey.
you didn't waste a damn thing
Hey,
because he says, what do you say?
Hey, go harder, son.
Yeah, we're live now.
Bet.
Now we're live in the studio with the homie Rome.
Yep. Thank
Welcome,
you.
bro.
Appreciate
Welcome.
it. It's a pleasure being here with the two of you.
Appreciate it.
Excited.
Appreciate it.
Happy to have you here, man. First guest
First
of the
guest.
year.
First
get
guest.
it.
A lot of pressure, Rome.
Lot
of pressure.
Set
lot
the
of
blueprint
pressure,
for
Rome.
everyone else. Let's get
We're
it.
just messing with you. We're just messing with you.
Man, so real quick, man, just a little intro. I've known Rome for like 8 years now.
Yeah, easily.
Easily,
yeah.
right?
8.
Easily 8 years. I think it was
Sure.
because we were at my first house,
Mm-hmm.
and when I met him, he was actually good friends with my brother,
Oh, okay.
and he was like, "Hey, my friend raps, like he needs somewhere to record." And I was like, "Bring him through." He's like, "I got a studio, but not really. It was like a room, and then I put him in a closet, and then we were making songs in there." And then
Some hustle and flow.
Yeah, some hustle and flow type stuff. And then, shit, we've been cool ever since.
Yeah. I still remember that like it was yesterday. It was crazy too, man. I remember going in there, getting it all set up, running the wires through the door and stuff like that. I want to say I still have the photo I took, because I think I had a GoPro at the time.
Yeah, you did have a
Right?
GoPro. You
And I
put
think
it
I
in the
set it
corner.
up right above
Dope.
me, and I captured a flick, and it pops up like occasionally from time to time.
Oh, man, yeah, those are good memories because I had one speaker at the time. So I was like, man, I'm on a come up, man. I can only mix with one speaker.
Right.
Probably like, all right, man, we
Yeah,
can do it.
yeah.
I'm trying to just get some songs done.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, in the beginning, man, you're just trying to get your foot in the door, and record as much as you can, right? Like I'm sure that
100%.
was the idea behind it. Like, hey, I just need to push out this content, man. I just need to write and record.
Right. So speaking of that, so who is Rome? Is Rome now? Obviously, I know you, but
Right.
the audience doesn't. So who is Rome now?
I like to just consider myself an overall artist. I don't like to be boxed in. I do the music. I do actual art, whether it's like drawing, canvases, stuff
Dope.
like that.
Nice.
Dope,
Have
dope,
clothing
dope.
brand
Dope.
as well. So I do design
What's
for that.
the name of the clothing brand? Let's
Rose
plug that.
Coat.
Rose Coat.
Rose
Cool.
Coat, Chicago. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a lot of streetwear. We're trying to elevate everything for this coming year, for the
Nice.
spring, summer drops and whatnot.
Nice.
So yeah, overall, I would say an artist. I don't like coming up. I feel like everybody always labeled me a rapper, and I never like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm more than that.
Yep.
And then rap just isn't. I feel like we were talking about this earlier. When you start doing really well, you're known for something. And when I was
Exactly.
rapping, that's what I was known for.
You
It was
got
like the
boxed
rap.
into that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So now, like transitioning to other stuff and whatnot, but we'll get into that later. But overall, I would just say an artist, 100%, just all
Nice.
around.
And
yeah.
do you think that's something that a lot of artists deal with?
Yes.
Where obviously you just use your example, but
Right.
where that's the last thing they want is to be boxed in.
I genuinely believe so, but I think the difference between a lot of artists that I know personally and myself is I've never really been a people pleaser.
There you go.
I want to please myself. I want to do what makes me happy.
There you go.
So when I have these
Yep.
conversations with these other artists who have boxed themselves into this box, they're like, well, I can't do anything else because this is like what they want. This is what they want to
Yep.
hear. This is what I'm known for. But you limit yourself at that point.
Yeah,
you know?
no, you do.
limit yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. So what are you working on now? What's the project that you got going on now?
So I have a couple of records that I recorded over the winter, and I feel like winter is my season when it comes to writing. I make a lot of music that you're hanging out, whether it's by yourself or just like a couple of friends. I don't really make like clubby music. I make more music you can feel. I want you to feel it. I don't
There
want
you
you to
go.
hear it. I want
Okay.
you to
Yeah,
feel
I
it.
got you.
And so in the winters, usually when I lock in a lot, so I have a lot of records that I have not dropped. Some do resemble like springy, happier vibes, and then we got some like melodic, crazy stuff that I don't think anyone's ever heard me do before. So I'm very excited for that.
Dope.
Yeah.
Now, how does that feel as an artist? Because like with myself, when I'm doing like let's just say a design,
Okay.
I don't like to think about it.
Right.
Right. I like to just do it. I like to live on the edge like that and push myself
Okay.
and allow my creativity to just flow. What is
Yeah.
it like for you as an artist when you're trying to do something new, right, and give something new to the people,
Right.
but also something that you've never done before? How do you approach that? Right? Is it like your process for
So I
you
want to
mentally?
say it's going to be for my craft in general. I don't necessarily ever say, look, I'm going to sit down this day and write this or
Got
about
you.
that.
Got you.
If I'm being absolutely honest, I am pro weed over here. So
Hey, I'm
you
with
know,
you. I'm with you,
so
man. I'm with you. I
anytime I
understand.
smoke weed, that's usually
I understand.
I'll be vibing out. I smoke
I
some weed,
understand.
and then I'm like, hold on, I have this idea.
Got you.
Plug in, start
Got you.
messing around with my voice. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we scrap it, and then I just keep trying. It's
Got
just
you.
whatever's coming to my mind at that moment. I'm like, you know what? Let me give this a shot right now.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it works. It works.
stuff,
So
good
yeah,
stuff.
so that I would say my process is just letting it come to me. Don't force it.
Yep.
Forcing
Yep.
it just
Yep.
won't ever give you the result that you want in the end.
No, that's true, man. That's true. Have you ever experienced writer's block?
100%.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. And I've learned to. I want to say like back in the day, whenever I would hit a writer's block, I would just be so disappointed in myself. I'm like, what's going on? Like I know I'm this creative individual, but
Right.
like nothing is coming to me. So I'd be extremely hard on myself. I would just set myself back mentally as well because I just wasn't performing the way I know I can.
Right.
So these days, I still get it to this day. But when I get it this time around, I let it go. I'm like, you know what? It's just not the time right now.
Right.
I have a million other things I could go on
Yep,
and do
and come back
for the
to it a
time
little
being.
later.
100%.
Cool.
So yeah.
Does that create sort of stress for you as an artist? Because do you put yourself on deadlines, or because obviously your audience is waiting to hear music. So like when you get into a writer's block, does that become stressful because you're like, damn, I got to get something out, or what does that
I want to say it definitely does, and it used to, like I was talking about, but I've just become so careless now. I'm just happy. I'm happy to be doing anything that I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
Not
Nice.
just like, oh my God, this is what's expected of me. I need to, once again, going back to the people pleasing. I need to
Right.
please everybody else aside from myself. These days, I don't stress about it. I don't stress about it. And I think that's why everything's just been a lot more organic and a lot more successful in the last few things that I've put out.
So as an artist, do deadlines really matter, or do you think as long as you're just pumping out content in a scheduled period of time,
Yeah.
it works? Or do you have to be like, man, I got to get some out next week, I got to get some out this weekend or this month?
I want to say that it matters more for more established people. More established people in the field, where you have some sort of management or you have people helping you out with your craft. I think that's when deadlines are extremely prominent in a person's career or their life. But for now, I'm not. For me personally, I haven't been relying on my music solely for because of all the other things that I have going on as well. So for me, it's never deadlines. I give myself time frames as to when I would like to release something, and that's as far as the deadline goes for me. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's kind of cool hearing like all the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to an artist. Obviously, like you said, you're multi talented, right? You have all these different things that you like to try and experience as an artist. But I got a good question for you. How do you approach like when you're making your art, right? Like actual art itself.
Right.
Is the process different than when you're writing?
I want to say.
Like, do you still like, for example, like, do you still smoke before you do your art, or is your art more something that you do?
The art comes easier.
Okay.
The art comes easier
Okay,
because
okay.
I feel like when I'm drawing or designing a logo and doing this, that, the third, it doesn't require me to talk. The art just speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't have to say catchy things or
Yeah.
have this certain wordplay for people to understand what I'm
Gotcha,
saying. I could just
gotcha.
draw something and it'll be like, that's what it is.
Yep. Yep.
So it's a lot easier than the music for sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Cool.
Speaking of which, I mean, if you haven't heard any of this guy's music, you're really great at creating melodies, catchy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about transitioning to more of a writer and selling your craft that way than being an art, like the front musician?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a conversation I've had with close friends as well. Um, it's tough. It's tough because I don't want to give my craft. I feel like that's me selling myself to someone else, and them
Yeah.
profiting and being known for something that they didn't genuinely create.
Yeah.
That doesn't sit well with me personally. No disrespect to artists who have ghostwriters or who have people help them write tracks. That comes with the territory, but looking up to people who I look up to, Russ. I think we
Yeah,
all know
Russ is
Russ.
huge.
Rush.
You know,
Yeah,
everything's
Rush,
independent.
Rush, Rush.
Everything's
Shout out to Rush.
100% him.
Right.
There's nothing ties his craft to anybody else aside from him, to him. And I think that's extremely valuable. That's real power. That's real freedom.
That is, yeah. He's completely
know?
independent, self-sufficient. Yeah. No, yeah. You're
Yeah.
100% right.
Is that the ultimate goal, to try to be somewhere where Russ is?
In that
Yeah.
ballpark?
Granted, he's reached heights that probably nobody's ever thought of, but at least on the
Nah.
By
independent
himself,
level,
right? Yeah.
Is that kind
Yeah.
of the ultimate goal?
100%. I would say so. I would say so. And it's, he takes it further than the music, which is something that I genuinely admire as well. It's not just music. He has, the merch. He has, he's talked about how he has investments in real estate, stuff like that. So he's really playing his money the right way,
Right.
And that's what I genuinely want to do. I want to have longevity with my money. I think I speak for all of us. We want generational wealth,
Right.
where it's we set ourselves up to set our future kids
Right.
or whatever up, so they don't have to, deal with the struggles that we all had to deal with growing up and whatnot.
And what's the, it's funny you bring that up, because here at the podcast we talk about mindset, purpose. We haven't dove into finances just yet, but we will eventually.
Oh, yeah.
But I've known you for some years, so the way I tell my cousin is, if you're in your 20s, you're still in your 20s, but so
Right.
as not to offend you in any
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
but we're like, if you're in your 20s, you're technically still a kid.
Yeah.
Obviously you're right at the border, 'cause
Right
you're getting
there.
to 30. So we compared that to Jordan, and I double checked this. I fact checked.
You did?
Jordan was 28 when he won his first title.
Okay.
So you're
right in that window.
transition of
Right in that window.
yeah, right in that window of being in your prime.
Right.
What has been your mindset from that switched from when you were, I think you would have been 23 or 22 when I met you, something
Right.
like that, to now? Because now you sound a lot different, and
Yeah.
as you should. You
Right.
shouldn't be the same guy.
Right.
What has been the mindset change from then till now?
I guess just prioritizing myself. It just always goes back to me. Back in the day when we first met, I was going out all the time.
Yeah.
I think we,
We all know. Yeah.
literally, it could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it was just, I think if I don't regret any decisions that I've made, but if I could go back and plan my life a little bit more accordingly to what I wanted to do now and with the things that I know now, I would definitely do that in a heartbeat, like that. I feel like I spent a lot of time. I wasted a lot of my time and a lot of my money just going out.
Just going out.
Yeah.
And for nothing.
As Malcolm would say,
Hey.
you didn't waste a damn thing,
Hey,
because he says, what do you say?
Hey, go harder, son. Hey, go harder, son. Hey, but the thing is, when I said that,
Yeah.
he did it. He lived it.
He did.
So you
Yep.
also, but it's also good because you get it completely out of your system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you're at the age and the space that you're at now, man. You're much more focused, right?
Right.
You're not worried about going out. You're not worried about the appearance of being out in that space and worrying about I got to be there because this person's gonna be there. This person's gonna be there. This person's gonna be there. And wanting that attention or that validation
Right.
from social media, like you don't need that now, But yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty cool to see like the growth for everybody that we're gonna bring on,
Right.
and like you said, the mindset shift that you have. I got a good question for you. Would you say that because we talked about this briefly too, right before we started the show, but your fitness journey, and I want to bring this in full circle,
Right.
but your fitness journey helped you with the mental health portion,
Yep.
which is something that we all deal with,
Right.
right? And would you say that your mental health, maybe when you were younger, wasn't as good as it is now? and how you've had to learn and grow and evolve, if you will, as an
Right.
artist, mentally.
It definitely has, and I think I'm first generation when it comes to being an American or being in America, growing up in America, because my parents were both born in Mexico,
Okay.
born and raised in Mexico, and then they came over here. So growing up with them, traditional Hispanic families, mental health doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Right?
Sadly,
It doesn't exist.
Sadly, it doesn't.
It doesn't
It
exist.
doesn't. It's chancla culture.
Yeah,
You know what
right.
I mean? Like, that's your mental health.
Toughen
Yeah,
up. Like,
yeah.
like what do you want to cry about?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I think learning how to navigate my emotions growing up and having to suppress so much because there was no real outlet or no
Yeah.
real person I could genuinely talk to about the issues that I was having in my head played a huge part in the decisions I was making as a young 20-year-old. You
Yep.
know, it was
Yep.
always acceptance or being around people, just doing everything I can to. I wouldn't necessarily say numb things because I was still enjoying myself, but it was my outlet.
Yeah.
That was my outlet.
Trying to
was
fill
going
a
out.
void in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And now I realize how that doesn't do anything.
It doesn't.
It damages it.
It does.
You know,
You only go deeper into the hole.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
you try to.
Then you're coming down from like a hangover,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
and like,
Those
oh
are the
man,
worst,
I don't
Yeah,
regret
those are
those.
the
I don't miss those. I don't miss those at
man.
all.
I gave those up a couple
A
years
while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
nah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good, man. So how long have you been working on, we'll call it your craft, which is all included in music, art, yourself,
Yeah.
fitness? How long have you been at it? How many years?
In its entirety, I want to say probably about 10, because it was like high school when I really started. So growing up, I grew up south side of Chicago, right? So I was around a ton of artists,
Yeah.
street artists. So that really introduced me to art. That made me fall in love with just art itself and like designing these cool letters that flow a certain way with like the gradient shading and whatnot. So 10 years. 10 years, yeah. It all started in high school. I started with drawing, and then after that, I started digging into like poetry. I started with poetry before I ever started writing music. So poetry opened the gateway for that for me.
Now, what got you into poetry? Was there something that you saw or something that you read, and you were like, you know what, I resonate with this?
Yeah, English class.
English
yeah,
class? Okay,
you know,
cool.
we'd come across these books that we might have to read, and some of them had like, it wasn't poem books, but there'd be
Right.
like a short section of
Yeah.
like this poem that the author wrote, and I'm like, damn, like I feel that.
Yeah.
Like like I feel
Bars.
this
Those
more
are
than the
bars.
entire
Yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's
Dropping bars
crazy.
right now.
So yeah, I think I was always intrigued by that and seeing how put different words together can just take you back to a certain time or make you feel a certain way, stuff like that. So words are extremely powerful, and I think that's why I fell in love with it. You know?
Got you.
That's solid,
Dope,
man.
man.
So you reached your decade mark. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
on here on the podcast we talk about thinking in decades, not years, not months, not weeks. You know, when you're trying to reach goals.
Right.
So it'll be a two-part question for you. The first one, your first set of decades, 19 to 29. You're at 29. Did you think you would be where you're at 29 when you were 19? Was this the plan, or did you exceed those plans?
Definitely not the plan. I think I've done a lot for myself personally that a younger me would be proud of. And I'm not where I want to be, but I think me realizing that and still wanting to try despite the age or despite me feeling like the window's closing,
Right.
like it's still, I still want to go hard, and I think I'm going to, or I know I'm going to go harder than I've ever done, you know?
Right.
And goes back to mental clarity. I feel like that's helping me a lot, and I just feel a lot more grounded and like I know what to do now, you know?
And that's what we talk about too in that age gap too.
Yeah.
You're more grounded in your later 20s,
Yeah.
early 30s. You have so much more self-confidence. You don't need anybody to tell you who you are
Right.
anymore, right?
Right.
So now you can create from a completely different space, an authentic space, a genuine space, you know? And that's really ultimately that's the space you want to be in when you do create, right? Is that flow state.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. I think that just on a from a personal level, to hear somebody else that's gotten in that space
Yep.
is always good to hear. Always
Yeah,
good
no,
to hear.
that's dope to hear because I would say you're a few years ahead of me where I was at 29. So I was talking about this on the last episode. These last 2 years from 30 to 32 has been the most clarity for me. So now at 32, going to 33,
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of at the space where like I kind of know what this game is, for the most part.
Right.
Still got to sharpen my tools, as Malcolm says. But yeah, the clarity's huge, man. Once you get that,
It's a game changer.
there's really nothing that
Game
can get in
changer.
your way. 'Cause-
No, yeah. Because would you say you feel like you're just now entering your prime?
I feel like I haven't even begun.
There,
if
well,
I'm
there
being
we go.
honest.
There we go.
If I'm being
there
honest.
we go.
And I have this conversation a lot. I feel like, not to throw shade again, but
Hey man, say it, bro.
you
Say
know,
it. Say it.
a lot of
you know?
people peaked in high school.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
true.
That was the most that they would
It's true.
ever amount to.
Yeah.
Sad to say. A lot of them that I know of are working corporate jobs, 9 to 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With no intention on doing anything else, which is
Yeah,
fine.
no,
Some
which
people
is-
are meant
yeah,
for that life,
yeah,
like we
I
need.
agree.
Yeah, so-
Everybody needs something in one field or another.
Yep.
You
No,
get
it's
what I'm
that
true.
might
saying?
be their success or whatever the
Yep.
case may be.
Exactly.
And
Maybe
as
that
long
was
as
their
they're-
goal.
As
right?
long as
Yeah.
they're happy.
Right.
At the end of the day, if they go home and they're happy and they can look themselves in the mirror and say, "Hey, man, I'm cool with where I'm at," then hey, let them.
Back from the break. All right. So, to continue, get us going, we were talking about, how you had your first 10 years, your first decade, right? What does your next 10 years look like now that you're 29? So we'll call it 39 or 40. Do you think it's still going to be music and art, or are you looking to make a transition in this next 10 years?
I would definitely like to stay in both the fields of art and music, but I've found a new love, passion. It's
Yeah.
the gym,
Ah,
you know.
okay.
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I might want to start off with doing some content related to the gym, probably within the next 5 months. Still figuring a couple of kinks out myself, so I don't want to lead people in the wrong direction when it comes
Right.
to stuff involving the gym. But definitely the gym. I want to dive into a little bit more like modeling. So, I got the shoot today,
Right.
and that's always been on my agenda. I just always feel like it's easier. And
Yeah.
I can express myself just by the way I dress as well without having to say much.
Your hair and
Yeah,
everything.
the hair,
man.
all that. So
Yeah,
I
your
think
hair's
it'd be
dope,
sick.
by the way,
hair's
man.
dope.
As a
I
barber,
appreciate it.
I don't know who your barber is, but man, he's killing it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a girl. It's a girl.
Oh, okay. What's her name? Let's give her a shout
So
out.
my barber is Christy. She's over at
Christy.
Creations Barbershop.
Christy.
Yeah, she kills it. Yeah.
Where's that at?
Carol Stream.
Carol Stream.
Okay.
All right,
Stream,
so you're
yeah.
out in Carol Stream. Hit her up.
Yeah.
Dope,
Got
dope,
clean
dope,
cuts
dope.
for sure.
Yeah, so fitness is probably gonna be.
The next move.
The next move.
The next transition. I feel like.
And do you feel like it's because music ages, like as far as like with a person? So like you get to a certain age where you're like, nah, I can't really do the music thing anymore.
Right.
Is that
To me, it's never really been that
Okay.
because I look at several artists who were established. We were talking about, Michael Jordan, he was 28 when he won his first actual big thing and
Right.
whatnot. There's a lot of artists that pop at 29, 30, 31. A lot of people
Okay.
just don't know it.
Yeah.
Like Fivio Foreign, one of them.
Okay.
He's older and he
Yeah.
just recently popped off.
Nice.
So it's not necessarily an age thing for me. I just feel like going back to the box, I feel like I've put myself in this box where I'm just known as a musical artist, and I think that's kind of why I stepped away from it a little bit. I didn't drop as much, I was focusing more on my actual art,
Yeah.
clothing and whatnot. So it might be on the back burner, but I definitely still want to do music. I think I still have great opportunity with it, But yeah, I would say fitness definitely topping all of them off right now.
nice? Nice.
Yeah.
No, man, the fitness, I resonate with it 1,000% because I was just telling him on our, I believe it was our first episode, like my goal is a year from now to be back to where I was. 'Cause there's a point where, man, I was going every day.
Right.
I was so disciplined with it, man. I had it, the diet, everything was there.
Right.
And then I peeled back for a little bit, and 1 week turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks turned into a month. And then, 3 months and I still would go, but man, I wish I would have stuck with it consistently. So, man, we're excited obviously to see where that journey goes for you.
Right.
But also on a personal level, man, it's great that you're just taking it serious and taking it to that next step and that next
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you worded it perfectly. It's the discipline. Having discipline in the gym, I want to say, sets you up for success in the real world.
It really does. It really does, and that's why we preach how important for anybody for that matter to go, because if you can beat those mental barriers in the
Yep.
gym,
Right.
well then everything else on the outside world is easy. It's
Yeah,
1,000
that's
times easier.
Yeah.
And so getting into like the artist part, because
Yeah.
are you solo, or do you have like a crew behind you, or would you say you're mostly a solo artist?
I would definitely say solo, but I do have a group of people who are behind me through
Supportive.
everything. Right. This goes back to my brand Rose Gold.
Yeah.
I have my boy Sixto. He's a DJ.
Yeah.
He's an artist as well. And then my guy Tanzi. He's a artist and influencer.
Nice.
So it's just we keep
shout out
it.
those two guys.
Yeah. And then let's shout out Hack as well.
Hack.
Hack, that's my
Hack's a
guy.
good dude.
Yeah, he's made phenomenal beats for me. He's an artist as well. So I want to say us four there, pretty tight knit, and when we just support each other every time
Nice.
we do something. But I'm more of I like to do everything myself. So even when people want to help, I'm like, hold
Yeah,
on.
you're like, nah.
I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
So what's the mindset you gotta have for like the solo artists out whoever's listening? What's kind of the mindset you have to achieve some sort of success, like, or at least to get to the point you've
Right.
gotten?
Okay. I would definitely say, do things for yourself. Do it for you, show up for you. In anything you do, especially music. Don't let trends, don't let what's popping mainstream set you away from what you genuinely feel is good music to you. You got to stick true to yourself. There's 8 billion people in the world. Your music's going to resonate with someone,
Right.
with a group, someone out there.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be like, you know what, this is
yeah.
tight.
No,
It's
yeah.
tight.
That's a good way to look at it.
So I would definitely say that networking, probably one of the biggest things out there. I know if you have access to plugs, use them.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest mistakes, is that I do have industry plugs, but once again, I
you wanna do it
want
solo.
to I want to feel like I don't want anybody to ever be like, well, you got in this position because I did that for you.
Yeah, so here's another way to look at
Yeah,
it. Here's
yeah,
another
yeah.
different perspective, because the way I look at it is nobody can ever do it on their own.
100%.
That I truly believe that. Like, no matter who you are, I don't care who it is, nobody can do it by themselves. Do you feel that may be the reason why you can't get to that next?
100%. 100%. Yeah, it's all on me.
But you don't.
Hey,
you
that's-
feel like you need to, like, is that like, you feel like that's your?
I feel like
you need to
eventually
get
I
rid of
will.
that?
I feel like eventually I will. It's just I wanna bring more to the table when it comes to situations like that, because I don't want to feel like, I know they wouldn't view it this way and I wouldn't view it this way, but I don't want to feel like we're not up to par when we're helping each other out to grow.
You want it to be an equal.
Exactly. I'd be like, you know
exchange.
what, you're helping me out.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is what I can bring to the table
Got
in
you.
exchange. So
Got
thank you.
I understand. Yeah, you don't
You
ever
know?
want to feel like you're on the bottom of that.
Right.
And have the wrong leverage in that case. That makes
yeah.
sense, man.
Yeah. So and then here's the other side, the other different side to it, because when we were talking about reading and stuff like that, the other way to look at that is, if you're giving something, you have to be giving it without any expectation to receive anything back,
Yep.
which will in turn not make you feel like you're not getting the same in return, because when you're doing something just to do it, to help somebody out, like genuinely help somebody out, if they don't do something as equal to or anything at all,
Right.
then you won't feel a certain way because there's no expectation.
Right.
So I would say maybe that's a different way to look at it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I know for myself, anytime I do something for someone, I do it with that.
Right.
No expectancy on anything back or whatnot. But like the music industry is just different.
True. It's
There's
a
always
different
hidden
beast.
agendas.
Yeah, that's true.
Hidden
No, that's
agendas.
true.
in there.
Yeah.
No, you got to watch out for the snakes, man.
Yeah.
Snakes in
Facts.
the grass.
Hey, man, you got to watch
Facts.
out
The
for
music
'em,
industry
so.
is dangerous, and I think that's why a lot of people are now starting to do everything independently. It's just
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah.
know, whether it's signing or associating yourself with certain individuals, it's just like, I feel like there's always a hidden agenda. Not everybody is you. Not everybody gives without expecting something in return.
No,
and
I get it.
feel like growing up, I've encountered a lot of people like that, which has made me hesitant to accept help now.
Right.
You know?
I get it.
So,
I get it.
It's like, why you doing that, man?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're all like-minded
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that sense. You know, we've all,
Yeah.
in a way, become stubborn
Yep.
in that way. You know, now it's a gift and a curse, right? Because it allows you to create this space where you can be artistic,
Right.
where you can be confident in yourself and everything that you push out and that you present. But then on the back end, sometimes it can hurt your relationships. It
Right.
can hurt, you know, the people that you interact with, the networking portion of it. So it's really just finding a healthy balance,
Yeah.
right? And obviously in the music industry, like you're talking about, there's monsters in there.
Yeah.
Right? So the only way that you can operate in a room full of monsters is become one yourself.
Yup.
Right.
And you want to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of. It's
Yeah.
like, no, man, I know what I'm worth. I know what I'm putting out there. I know that what I'm bringing to the table is original. It's creative.
Yeah.
And hey, I just don't want to get screwed over. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You know? There's nothing wrong with that at all.
And I also feel like just the older I've gotten, I mean, you know, music has and always will have my heart, but it's just like the older I've gotten, I've strained away from wanting fame. I just want to be rich. You know, I don't really like being seen. I mean, I feel like I barely post on my social medias.
Yeah, you've toned down a lot over the
Yeah,
years. I've noticed that.
I don't want to be seen as much. Like when my music comes out, I want people to listen to it for the feeling, not because I know a lot of it has to do with the aesthetic that I bring. It's like, oh, this is how he looks, this is how he sounds, whatnot.
Right.
Sometimes I wish like I kept that secret, you know?
Yeah.
I think it would have been crazy. And yeah, I'm not really, I hate being in the limelight, if I'm being honest. You know, I'm comfortable doing a podcast with you guys. I know
Right.
you, I'm comfortable with you and stuff like
Right,
that. But
right.
aside from that, I'm not really too attention driven these days. When I was younger, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's all I wanted,
Yeah.
right? And now I get it unintentionally, and I'm just like, yeah. Like I just want to be rich. I want to be rich.
And you know, I
wanna
think
be
there's a lot of
famous.
artists out there that feel the exact same
Yeah.
way you do. The only difference is they don't have the platform maybe to express it, or they just haven't expressed it yet.
Right.
You know, because it is a very, I mean, really, when you think about it, like, if you were to take off, right, and let's say you have millions of followers and millions of fans,
Right.
well, now you feel like you have an obligation to them, you know, and
Right.
then that stresses you out, you know, and the tours could stress you out, and it goes from you creating all of this stuff just to connect with people,
Right.
to now you feel like if you're not creating, if you're not putting something out, then you're letting your fans down.
And you're betraying the exact people who brought you to the place that you're at.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's not fair for an artist to have that level of pressure on them.
Right.
Because initially the reason why they connected with you was because you were coming from a space of genuineness.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it's tough, man.
It's
Being an
tough.
artist is tough.
Yeah,
Being an artist is
that's a
tough.
tough spot to be
Yeah.
in. Definitely a tough space. What would you say what would you say would be your biggest obstacle, or still is, when you were coming up, or still as you're still coming up as an artist, or even on the music side?
I would say just accepting help in general, you know. Once again, just growing up in the way that I did, traditionally Hispanic family, it was just like you kind of just got up and got it on your own.
Yeah.
Always, you know. Too prideful to ask for help, which I know is dangerous. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad for oneself.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
like
understand
I'm
that.
listening to myself right
Yeah.
now. Like, this is crazy to me, bro. I'm just over here. While you guys are talking, I'm just over here like, man, bro. Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah,
just
I
like,
know exactly what you're talking
why
about,
you
yeah.
asking for help? Like, you got this. Like, God gave you your tools, and I like how you worded it. You just got to sharpen them up. You know, you got to sharpen them up
Yeah.
and apply them
Yeah.
again.
No, yeah.
So I would say just accepting help has been probably my biggest downfall, and not taking opportunities when they're presented to me. There's a lot of times where I would accept to do like a performance or something like that, right? And then I'm just like, nah, never mind.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
What would you say to younger artists, or maybe even your younger self when you first started?
Don't be scared, you know, be unapologetically you. And like I said, you come up with a certain persona or certain look, like make sure that's you. You know, make sure that's
Yeah.
you. Just be you 100%. Be genuine. And I'm a huge believer in karma, and I feel like my karma this time around has finally been circling back for everything that or everyone that I've stuck my neck out for throughout, my last 10 years. I feel like everything's coming back. So just be genuine. I know it's tough, but like things work out the way they're supposed to, and don't give up just because the people from your ugly little hometown ain't supporting you.
Right.
The world's big. Like
Yeah,
if,
it's
if
true.
they're talking down on you and saying this and that, like disregard it. If
Like-
it's something you enjoy and love doing, keep doing it, because someone's gonna like it.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna like it.
What's your opinion on that? Why are people from home that know you like why are they like that?
I feel like to them, just speaking from an outsider looking in, I feel like it would be more of it's embarrassing to support someone pursuing a dream that isn't easily achievable to the normal person in today's society.
Yep. I think you hit the nail on the head.
You know?
And then to add to that, the fact that they know someone that is taking the risk makes them feel insecure about themselves because maybe they didn't take the risk.
Right.
And so rather than give you and be like, man, you know what? I'm just proud of the fact that he's got the
courage.
the courage, exactly,
Right.
to even attempt it and to do it. And because I mean, ultimately, man, you're putting your brand on the line. You're putting your name on the line
Yeah.
when you
Right.
step out there like this and take a risk.
And you're being vulnerable, which a lot
Exactly.
of people,
Don't,
a
yeah.
lot of people don't do that. And I feel like I said, I think it has to do with like, well, that's kind of lame. Like, why do I want to support an artist from my hometown?
Right.
But it's crazy. I think it's just crazy seeing the switch that once people are supporting you, they're like, oh my God, like,
Oh yeah.
I see your stuff.
I know
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you don't. Like,
Yeah.
let's keep it a
Stop
buck.
it.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
So
Back
yeah, I
then
think
they
that's where
didn't
it
want
comes.
me. Now I'm hot.
Yeah.
They all on me. You know?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. And that's like, I have a couple stories about that too. Like just
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
from high school, like, and it's just like, nah, ship has sailed. I don't know.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's crazy. Because when I first met him, I literally thought this guy was, and even still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea why nobody was listening to this guy. Because when I first heard him, I was
You
like,
knew.
man, this dude might be the next Drake. But like, there was just no, we didn't have the money
Yeah.
to like push him. Because I had a
Right.
small studio.
Right.
I was like, dude, you can come record whenever you want. I
Right.
don't care. I'll
Right.
work on it.
Yeah.
Because I thought this dude was gonna be like the
Yeah,
next
of
Drake.
course.
Right, right, right.
But it was only a small group of us that
Yeah.
that thought that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, man, this is nuts. Like, how's nobody jumping on board with this dude?
And I feel like it's crazy because, my following has gotten bigger since we met.
Yeah.
And I do get messages from various people saying the same thing. They're like, I don't get it. And I'm like,
Right.
you know what? I could do more. I don't let them know that, but I know I can do more, whether it's marketing more,
Right.
which is one of the biggest things. So any upcoming artists, like either get a marketing team or learn how to market yourself. YouTube, great learning place for anyone.
Right.
So I feel like if that's one of my goals this year as well, is to market any music that I drop a lot more than I've ever have. And in the
Right.
past, I never marketed. I would just drop and it
Yeah,
is what it
right.
is, right? But, we were talking about the YouTube stuff that did with the previous video we just shot, and that was
Right.
doing really well
Yeah.
just by marketing it. And I gained new subscribers, I gained new followers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, and that'll be your exchange. Will be, you don't like being in the limelight, but that's gonna be the cost.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
There's always cause and effect, man.
Yeah.
Always.
You can't have it all.
Yeah, you can't
can't.
be in the dark and be out in the
Right.
front.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's true, man. That's true.
So, because we're all obviously we all have parents that have come from Mexico, and earlier you brought up being first generation
Right.
over here. This is a deep question, but have you thought about how our culture, right? Because we talked about growing up and what we just were. Our parents, the stuff that they were teaching us, it was just passed down, right? It's generational trauma almost.
Yeah.
Do you
100%.
think that has played a big factor into your overall livelihood and your even awareness of yourself now at the age that you're at,
Yeah,
and
no.
how it's affected you and how it's affected your parents and your grandparents, so on and so forth?
I would definitely say so. And my apologies, mom, dad. You know I love you.
Yeah.
But growing up like that.
We don't have to put this on there. If you
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
but-
we
Oh no, we can. It's good. It's good. I think people need to hear it.
it's,
You get what I'm
it's
saying?
authentic. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
authentic.
growing up, my parents never told my sister and I they loved us, and I know it wasn't because they didn't.
Right.
I just growing up, I never understood it really,
Right.
especially when I moved to the surbs and everybody's like, "Oh, I love you." You
Yeah,
know, I'm
yeah.
like, "Wait, where was mine?"
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My hug at.
But-
I say that all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
because I love my mom too, man.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Now our relationship is 1,000 times
Right,
better.
yes.
1,000. We hug each other all the time. Every time we
Uh-huh.
see each other, it's a hug. But yeah, as a kid, there were times where I didn't feel like I'm like, oh, your mom does that.
Right, right.
That's
but
what I'm not getting that. At home.
and then you know what I came to understand the older that I became was that their way of showing that they love me and telling me that they love me was providing food every night, providing
Yeah.
a hot shower for us,
Right.
Yeah.
going out and getting it so that they could give us the best life that they can at the
Right.
moment.
Yeah.
You know? And we did sit down, like we sat down maybe like a year or two ago, and I addressed it with them, with
Good
you know
stuff.
my sister and my dad,
Good
my
stuff.
mom, and we're like, you know, like we never heard it, and personally it affected me. I don't know how my sister feels, but I'm
Yeah.
sure she feels the same way.
Yeah.
And they apologized, and it was just that's what they were used to from
And
their
that-
parents.
And that's a
Right.
beautiful
So that's
thing
what you're
that you
talking
guys.
about, you know?
Yeah. No,
a
yeah.
chain.
And that's a beautiful thing that you guys had that conversation and that you initiated it too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now that you're at the age that you're at, and when you said it happened the conversation happened a couple years ago, but
Right.
still, you had some life experience now
Yeah.
to be able to speak from and to say, hey, this is how I felt about it.
Right.
You know, I'm not trying to attack you guys as human
100%,
beings.
never an attack,
I
right.
understand. Like you guys had an entire life before you brought me and my sister into this world.
Right, right.
So there's a lot more to it, you
Yeah.
know. But now that we're in this space where we're no longer trying to operate from trauma
Mm-hmm.
and we're trying to thrive, right? I just want to let you guys know this is how we felt about it, you know.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, even your parents, I'm sure it was tough for them to hear that.
Oh,
coming from,
100%.
you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you know, they apologize, and
Right.
and now like my mom and I, we text all the time, and we'll get on the phone, and it's always "I love you" at the end of everything.
Good stuff.
You know.
Good stuff.
No,
So
yeah,
it's
that's-
really
yeah.
nice. My dad too. He was the toughest one. You know, like yo,
Had to get him to crack.
He probably
Yeah.
choking up trying to
Yeah,
say "I love you." He's like,
yeah.
"Ah,
yeah.
That affection thing, man, was different back then.
Facts.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just
Facts.
different.
Yeah.
I was just always under the way you say, like what's understood doesn't need to be explained. So
Yeah.
I always
Sure.
took it like that. Like I always knew they loved me. I was just like, all right, it's cool. But now, like with my kids, it's different. Now,
Right. It's
way
now I just
different.
add that in there. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just add it to see. I'm sure that any kid wants to hear it.
Of
Oh,
course.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think that's
Because it
solid.
does make a big difference. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, you also mentioned too, if maybe you would have gotten some more of that stuff at home when you were younger, you wouldn't have put yourself in certain situations.
100%. I feel like I don't want to blame my mental health on them, because I do believe that mental health in some way, shape, or form is generational as well. But I think it played a huge part in that. You get what I'm saying? And it was finding acceptance from going out and being around people because I just didn't necessarily feel that at home always
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No, I
You
get
what
it,
I'm
man.
saying? So
I
it
get it.
becomes a dangerous cycle. So
It is.
at the end of the
It
day,
is.
I'm extremely grateful and blessed to be able to distinguish the two and grow from it instead of staying there and
Staying in
just
it and
decaying
repeating
with
it.
it.
Yeah, and
right.
repeating the cycle. No, man, that's huge, bro.
No, yeah,
That's
yeah,
huge.
That's
I'm
huge,
really
man.
happy for you that I mean, outside of just the artist and everything else you got going on, just human to human, man, that's really important that you've gotten into that space, bro.
I appreciate
good
that.
stuff, man. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you're
Appreciate
getting
that.
into a good spot, man. You're
Yeah.
gonna start transitioning, growing. Not as an just as an artist, but as a human too. You know, as
Right.
a man. So, no, yeah, that's dope, man. We're definitely excited to see where you're at next year. We have to bring you back, maybe even
Yeah,
before
man.
the end of the
Episode.
year.
Yeah.
We have to bring you
If we
back
can,
and
yeah.
see where you're at.
Let's run it.
See if you're yoked.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. He's gonna be
no
three.
neck.
He's gonna be 225, solid, just walking down the stairs like this.
Chair's not gonna be big
No,
enough for him. I might need
no,
a
we
bigger
got to get
chair.
bigger chairs. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so before we end the podcast, man, do you what would be the last thing you would say to either because I know you gave some advice to upcoming artists, but what would be the last thing you say to leave them with? Or even not just artists or musicians, but people who are going your route, because you're going the non-traditional route.
Right.
And we talk about this all the time. Non-traditional. I went traditional. Non-traditional. So what would be kind of your last piece of advice for people taking that route?
Honestly, just don't give up on yourself. It's going to get really, really tough. You know, you're going to hit a lot of barriers. There's going to be several times where you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, just how I have, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not getting anywhere. You get what I'm saying? But it goes back to the discipline. I would encourage people to start going to the gym, you know, because it gives you that mental clarity. And like you said, it creates discipline. If you're able to get over the board or the barrier of waking up and fighting the mental battle of not wanting to go to the gym but still showing up for yourself, I think you'll show up for yourself in your music, your craft, or whatever else you decide to do with your life. So definitely just always show up for yourself. It's okay to take rests and breaks. I think that's one of the most important things I could throw out there, because
Yeah,
you don't always
that's
have
big.
to be on go. You know, it's
That's
good to
big.
just take a day off and like,
Listen to your body.
yeah, listen to your body, watch a movie, be lazy all day. Who cares? You know, you're working throughout the week and then you're still setting time aside for your craft. Like, give yourself some time to rest.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
dope, man. That's dope, man. Well,
That's great
this was a
information.
this was a great podcast.
This
man.
was a great podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? We're extremely thankful that you're our first guest.
Yeah.
Because you've got so much insight, not just into the art industry and the music industry, but just life experience, man. So thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
again
man,
for coming
thank
on,
you both.
man.
This
We
is
really
a pleasure.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate this.
Up here.
Yeah, man.
It was
Yeah.
a good interview, man.
Yeah. So thank you again,
Well,
man.
let the audience know where to find you. Was it whether it be Instagram?
Yeah, mainly on Instagram, TikTok, unfortunately. YouTube, everything's Girls Love Rome. All
Girls
together, no spaces.
Love
There we go.
Rome. I like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
like that. What about are you on? Is it the same thing for Apple Music or
Yep,
Spotify? Or
everything's the same. Yeah, switched
Yeah.
it over.
Yeah,
Made the
okay.
big boy change.
There you go. There you go. So subscribe to him. Go check out his music. Hit him up if you got any more questions on what we talked about, or if you're an artist, you know, need some advice, man. Hit him up. I'm sure he'd be an open door for you guys.
100%.
And you got anything else, Cuzzo? You got
Nah, man. As always, if you guys could like, comment, share, and yeah, just leave a. It really does help us. It helps us out if you leave a comment or if you like it. It helps the YouTube algorithm and the other algorithms as well. So, but yeah, we'll be back with the next episode. Thanks for watching and listening. We appreciate you guys.
Peace.
Later. Peace.